give it an edge there. So I'm just dabbing the palette knife, can you see? It actually gets super sticky. So now it's got the lovely light edge. So we're doing cross blending with palette knife. So, okay, so now I'm just going to make this a bit closer. This light is very cool. Okay, so you wanted to know about the hot and the cold.
No,
So
I remember about hot and cold.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it with just black.
Okay, okay. Okay, now the hot and the cold is, this is hot, cold, medium. So that's hot, cooler, warm, medium, cool, cold. Okay, so at this point, so every painting always dark and light and hot and cold. So for the initial beginning, you can just wash in the dark. So I see dark here, so not dark, I see warm. So the moment it looks slightly yellow, can you see it's got a yellowy tinge to it? Can you see this has got a yellowy tinge to it? Okay, that means it's warm. So then I wash. I don't have to, I can just wash over each other. Can you see this? It's got a bluey tinge to it here. Actually yellow, but that's actually blue. So that's warm, but that's cool. That's definitely cool there, because it's got blue. So if it's yellow ready tinge, definitely warm. Like even here, can you see here it's got a slight hint of blue in it there. Okay, so that's cool. So I just wash my cool in. So it's just washes. So there's a cool here, cool there. Then here around that area is definitely cool.
Outside.
There, yeah, there. This is warm, yeah. So light is not necessarily warm, and dark is not necessarily cool. So here we've got dark, and you see there. But that's actually got a slight reddy tinge to it because of the apple. So that's actually a warm. So it's not, people always think like warm is, what did I say just now? I can't remember what I said. Can you see what I mean? Can you see that is yellowy?
Yes, I can see that.
So that's definitely warm.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wash in very loosely. So this overall has got a yellowy tinge to it. It's dark, but it's warm. Where this is cool, it's light, but it's cool. So it's not, and people turn it around, they think it's dark, therefore it must be dark. Cold. Dark is not always cold. I'm confusing myself now. So dark. This is cold. There is a cool light coming through there. And here is some warmth here. So the light here is warm but not hot. Yeah, go for it. So I'm just to help myself to see where is dark and light, where is hot and cold. So here it's a cool there. Can you see it's got a bluey tinge there? Right here. Can you see it's got a
So from here it looks yellow.
Okay, so right here in this, right here, it's a bit of a bluishness. So I'm just washing in. Just washing it in. It doesn't matter if it's dark or light at the moment. That's definitely warm. Can you see that? Okay, good. So make that warmer. There's a cool stretch here, and this is sort of pretty neutral, except it goes a bit warmer there. It's got a slight hint of reddishness to it. Okay. And this is sort of neutral, so I'm just going to make it a neutral color. So at this point in time, we don't care about the style or the technique. Now, you're going to bring in the palette knife. Okay, so there's different ways to do the palette knife. So obviously most people want to go for a small palette knife. This one's a bit too big. This one is sort of a good size. This one's also nice. This one's also nice. So yeah, they all got different edges. So obviously the principle stays the same. Big knife, big area. Small knife, small area. It's exactly like you would do with a paintbrush. So I'm going to start with sort of a medium, small one. Now the way that we add the paint is, okay, I'm just going to start with, I can see that's warm and dark. Obviously we start with our darks. So it's warm but not hot. So it's over here somewhere. So it's warm but not hot, so I can actually add maybe a bit more of that in it. Okay, so you get the idea. So now all I'm going to do, there's different ways of putting it on. So I'm cross blending, which means I'm going in different directions. Yes. So I'm not pressing hard. I can press hard when I'm smearing the paint. Can you see?
Okay.
But that's just a way. I can also remove paint. Can you see that? So I'm just going to add some at the back. The idea of most of the time when you paint, you're going to probably use a very light pressure. So I've got my dark, sort of, now I'm going to add in wherever else I see it. So here's a little bit. I'm just sort of layering down colors quite quickly. I just want to warm light, but it's not hot, it's warm. So because I'm doing it quite thin, the undercoat is also coming through. Can you see? Okay, so I'm not worried about going over the lines. It doesn't matter. That is sort of lightish, cool but not cold. Cool but not cold. So if it's not perfectly fine, can you see I go different directions? No? It's not perfectly fine, it doesn't matter. This is just the underlayer, like underwear. Nobody's going to see it in the end. Here, if I look here, there's some cool light there. Cool light. And here, I can probably put some on. So I'm just keeping it quite flat. Can you see my knife is very flat? So I'm not keeping it on the side. The knife is flat like this. Can you see? Okay. So if I don't like it, I can scrape it off. Okay. In the back, and then here it's warm. Slightly warmer, darker. Okay. Slight coolness here. So the whole time in my mind, I'm asking myself two questions. First question is it dark or light? Second question is it hot or cold? And you're going to ask yourself, especially working with tonal values, that question the whole time. Now remember, you can also use your negative space to get rid of areas. So I can see that's too big there. So I can actually use my negative space to take away. I'm just taking away, yes. I'm just using the color that's on the knife. Can you see now the shape's better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now I want to go into a little bit more detail. So I started with the dark, and you want to stick with the dark. So now I'm going to go a little bit more lighter on my palette knife. So here it's a darker, cooler, and I'm picking up the paint, quite a lot of paint, you can see there. Huh? Darker, cooler, and now I'm using the point. So I'm not pressing, I'm holding it very lightly in my hand, very lightly. And I'm just using, look, I've only picked up paint on the front here, can you see there? So I'm very lightly, so where I don't want it, I can scrape it off. And I'm just placing it where I see it. That's cool. Wherever else I see some of the same cool. Don't worry about the strongly now. Cool. There's some darker cooler here. It's a bit too dark, but it doesn't matter. It's just to get some dark down. Okay, now here, so now you can already see. So the trick is to work the foreground against the background the whole time. So if this is dark, that's light. If this is hot, that must be cold, and vice versa. You know that, no? We always have dark against light, you always have hot against cold. Here, which is this, it's got a slightly warmer tone, but that is cooler than this, which is very hot here in this area there. But then this area is cool. Cooler. So I'll start off by cooler lighter, adding the cooler lighter in first, just to get something there. And I can you see I rotate my painting? People often ask, oh, can I turn my painting around? Yes, by all means, turn your painting around. Okay, so now I've got my cooler in. Now I want a bit of warmth there. So now my knife, I'm going to take a slightly smaller knife, put that one in the water, because I want a little bit more control. And you get a knife that's even smaller than this one. So I want a little bit of warmth, so I want to start adding some warmth. And I'm going sort of in the direction now of what the apple is. Can you see now? So if I want the two colors to blend, I keep the knife quite flat and I almost let it smear. Can you see that? If I want it to sit on top, I put the paint down on the side and then drag it very so it sits on top. So the amount of pressure you put on the blade will allow you to either put on top or blend. So here it's a slight warmness. I'm going to add a little bit of warmth here. And I want some of the contrasting. Immediately I want to look at the contrast. That is definitely slightly cooler. It's warm overall, but that bit here is slightly cooler and it's light. So I'm going to put it on. Now can you see the contrast?
Yeah.
Okay, so that comes this way, goes out here. I'm starting to get a nice contrast. There's a lot of dark right underneath here. I'm going to put some dark. So now I can also just use the edge of the knife. Like I literally put it down like this. Okay. So I'm just adding the edge of the knife to edge it there. So that gives me dark. The moment I have dark, and I can take away where I don't want it. The moment I have dark, I start getting three-dimensionality. So this is the center. Where else can I put dark? So I vary my pressure the whole time. Eh? Okay, now I want to work a little bit here. So that's very dark but warmish against a slightly cooler tone here. Dark but warmish. So dark. So even if it's too dark, the initial stages, it doesn't matter because remember, I'm going to work over it. So now I can keep it smooth, or I can you see when I change my knife to different direction, I get like a texture. Okay, so different direction. And if I press harder, I get more texture. And if I press softer, I get less texture. Can you see there? Okay. So now the trick is now just be careful of doing like people tend to make a panel and a panel and a panel. Okay, where else can I put it? There's some dark up here because that's light, so that must be dark. So if that's very dark, that must be lighter than this. So it is lighter and slightly warmer. So logic dictates actually the way you're going to go. So you know, Leonie said, it's always dark against light, it's always hot. That must be hotter. Now I look, yes, it is hotter. And there's a very light area just next to it. So I can also work with the other side of the brush. I can tap a little bit of light in there. Can you see there? I'm just tapping a little bit of light in here. Okay, so I'm just going to work it a bit now. So you can see it's starting to, the hot and the cold starting to work. Okay, so where can I work now? So here, you can also scratch. Can you see when I scratch, I'm actually scratching the top layer of revealing the bottom layer. Can you see that? Okay. Okay, so now I want to work a bit here. So this is here. It's sort of very neutral. This area here. Can you see there? Okay, so it goes up. It's light, goes up. So it's very neutral, but it is darker. Neutral, but darker. And sort of comes down here, and then it sort of disappears. Now look how nice this starts looking. Different colors starting to play with each other and into each other. Can you see? Yeah. So this I can see I must make a lot lighter. So let's work a little bit in here. So this is where you really start adding now your lights. Can you see? I'm really now working with the edge of my knife. So now look at how nice this looks with the blues.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
And there's actually a very light